really is. What are some of the solutions that you had for that? Like getting getting other demographics involved, getting younger fans involved, and bringing them into the game. What were some of those solutions that you had?
Well, the two things I think about are the lack of African-American players in the league, and then fans in general, a younger demographic of fans, no matter what they look like. In terms of getting younger fans and more fans involved in the game. And we were talking about this last week about what the NFL and the NBA has been successful at, having these individual players as kind of, figureheads. They're the people that we know, we follow, and brands like Nike are really great at, building a persona around them. They get those Allstate commercials that keep running and running and running. But you have somebody that you can identify with. And they've got a great social game going on. Their shoes, their swag, all that stuff. We understand who that player is, and we can see ourselves in what they do. Even though we're not as good at whatever sport they're playing, basketball or football, we can mimic them in some way with how we dress and how we talk, what we listen to in particular. Depending on how old you are, you may not need all that, but to get young fans, it's when they see themselves in a player. And I think the MLB can do that. And I mentioned this in the Twitter feed. Especially if you're trying to get African-American fans, like back in the day when Ken Griffey and Deion Sanders were out there, like we loved those guys. And they were, turning their hats around and they had the chains, and some players still do that today. But I think the MLB can embrace that natural connection to hip hop. Hip hop is an all-American invention, just like baseball. And hip hop artists are all wearing baseball hats from the cities and states that they grew up in.
I made a Yankee hat more famous than a Yankee game.
Exactly. Chance and Ice Cube in LA, they're wearing every hat in every color. So whether or not they're even at the game, I mean, those guys are the ones who show up during, a World Series or an ALCS or an LCS, but they're rocking that as a representation of their hood, their town, their city, their team. And MLB can really embrace